I'm Taylor Wiggins, 6th grade at Parker Middle.
My name is Joyce Lynch.
Hi, I'm Nate Reisinger. I'm an 8th grade English and Social Studies teacher at Weldon Middle School. It's my 3rd year teaching.
For instance, if there's a fight, you get 10 days automatically. Not unless you try to get to another, or if you throw the lip back for self-defense, you get 10 days. Sometimes for unnecessary stuff, like little small things can get big consequences. If I thought like this happened to me, if I threw a piece of paper away and got ISS for a period, they will either get sent to another class and get silent lunch, or get sent to the office and get 2 days of ISS. She will give you a phone call, write in your agenda, and include an ISS.
ISS, which is in school suspension, and it depends on the severity of the problem. So most of the time he gets in school suspension. Teachers them talk to him. They send him out of the classroom.
Most discipline issues at our school are handled at the classroom level. Teachers have a lot of flexibility on their classroom management structures, what their consequences are going to be, what their incentives are. And then once we get to the administrative level, we have a graduated intervention system. So what we do is the top level of offenses, fighting, open insubordination, things like that, those would go straight to the principal. But smaller offenses that still require removal from the classroom would go to one of our intervention specialists. Intervention specialists are going to be reflecting on behavior with the students, having them complete behavior reflections, and 5 referrals to the intervention specialist results in a suspension. Chances are that if you're referred immediately to the administration, suspension is the likely outcome. We have a principal who prides himself on his discipline, and one of the things that he talks about in priding himself in his discipline is a willingness to send students home.
That is so much happy, but not great. When I couldn't play basketball, I felt mad because I was like, my team probably needs me. ISS is not the place to be. It's boring, like really. At my school, they think it's fun because if they get the ISS, they do anything, and the ISS teacher, he just don't do nothing about it. Sometimes it's necessary, but not other than that.
Not really. In school suspension is just like they go in there and do the homework.
Okay.
They get in there and they talk. So what is that?
Okay.
They stay in the classroom.
Absolutely, I do feel supported by my administration. You have some teachers complain that their administrator doesn't back them up, but I don't feel that way. There are times, though, that I feel like I feel more pressure to handle things at the classroom level, because I know that the type of administrative support I'm going to get is a suspension for that student. And because we know the effects of suspension on students, I try very, very hard to not require administration to be the person backing me up and to keep things at that classroom level.
You separate a student from his fellow peers. Like one side of the class on the other, you by yourself, you're lonely. Ain't got nobody to talk to really. But yeah, you get stood in the hallway for like a 15 to 10 minute period, but
Keep them. You gotta learn that child, the background of that child, where that child come from, what kind of problems he or she may have at home, to understand what's going on, why that child is acting out, and then try to give them several chances. And I know most teachers do. So instead of sending them to out of school suspension, give them something in school to keep them in school, keep them learning.
The middle grade discipline has to be restorative and has to be educational. Many of our students' discipline issues, many of our students' behavioral concerns come from the same struggles that make things difficult for all middle schoolers. Learning how to handle stressful situations, learning how to respond emotionally appropriately, learning how to conduct myself in a professional environment. Those are the things we're supposed to be teaching our students, and so discipline needs to be instructive, and discipline also needs to be restorative. There has to be a way for me to come back into the class better than I was, or to continue to improve myself as part of that discipline structure.
Thank you.
I want to put the suspension limit so high, but like as if very severe. Like if there was a fight to break out, who caused the fight and who threw the first lick? Cause on suspension, like kids can just like some kids can just be at home. It's like a free day, like free break for them. Like they'll be at home on the Xbox, PlayStation playing on their phone. For some kids, it's a horror show because their parents like gives them like the strength, like punishment, no TV, no phone, no game.
I would keep them. I would not unless I absolutely have to send them home, but find some alternatives to keep them in school.
I like to see discipline more as restoration than as punishment. Our students need to be able to have the opportunity to correct any mistakes that they may have made in order to both learn from those mistakes and also actually grow from those mistakes. A lot of the ways we see discipline being handled right now is just by removing the student from the environment. But what that teaches the student is that there's something intrinsically wrong with them that caused that behavior instead of a behavioral choice that they have control over. And so what we see is that students are perpetually removed from school. Their behavior gets worse. And so what I like to see happen is have students with the opportunity to reflect on their behavior, to, if their behavior hurts somebody else, to find a way to restore justice in that situation and allow them to correct the harm that their behavior may have caused as a tool both for teaching them and also for making the educational environment more supportive. So I build community in my classroom. I learned from my mentor teacher who taught with me for about 3 years, Donnell Cannon, a word, Ubuntu, which is a South African philosophy of oneness. The idea that I am because we are, that we can only succeed if we all succeed together. And so I teach that word explicitly. I teach Ubuntu explicitly in the first week of my class, and then continue to refer back to it. It's posted largely in my room, and then everything in my classroom stems from that we're all in this together, that our classroom is only going to be as successful as each of us individually coming together make it. And so with that in mind, there's the idea that we need to look out for each other. That just because I'm having a bad day, I can't take it out on somebody else, but I also need to recognize that if somebody's having a bad day, it's my job, it's my responsibility to look out for that person because we're all in this together.